Okay, episode 2 was great, don't get me wrong, but it was just confirming things I already knew. Like, I already knew that Holly was kidnapped by Mr. Whatsit, who is Henry. I already knew that the spinning thing that no Will was experiencing was related to Holly, so that he was seeing through Holly's eyes. I already knew that. So it's great that they figured it out, but I was already there. But obviously, as an audience member, you have context. You saw her talking to no one. That you saw her, the teacher, see that Holly was talking to no one, so you know that immediately it's someone who's like telepathic, has like sort of a mind control. It's so if it's not 11, it has to be Vecna. Plus, it was a guy who was very gentle and kind. Apparently, it was a Mr. What's it, not a Mrs. Right? So I knew it, but it was fun to watch them catch it, and it was also nice to see that both Mike and Nancy understood from one way, whereas like Will and Robin understood from a different way. And like I said, I'm really enjoying that friendship between Will and Robin because again, she's giving him the some confidence, being like, "Your idea is great," and she's pushing him a little bit to be confident and like trust herself, and is also sharing her experiences. Like I'm starting to love that friendship. Like you can see that they are getting close because he got to make his own plan and execute it because she trusted him, and like that is, I think, going to be huge for him. Watching Nancy lash out kind of in grief with as she's struggling, like obviously her parents are like, she walks in and her mom's like in, it's literally her nightmare that Vecna showed her. So watching her kind of lash out and like having Mike listen to it, and also he's also feeling that same level of guilt and like anxiety, was painful to watch. Which is why I'm glad Lucas was there, because as close as he is to the Wheeler family, he is still enough distant enough to point out the stuff that they were missing. Like, hey, they would have all been dead if Vecna wanted to do it, and he would have been there doing doing the killing, not one of his demodogs. And it's also way too close to the same time that Will was taken. So I'm really curious about what it is around this time or date that makes Vecna choose his victims at this moment. Why in November, early November, and not like somewhere later on? Why does it have to be around that time? So I'm curious about the symbology and the timing of that. Because also, if you think about it, the Volume 1 was released a little bit after the US Thanksgiving. The next 3 episodes are releasing on Christmas, and then the finale is on December 31st, which might just be like excellent days to choose it and significant milestones to like maximize your money. Or there might be some sort of potential storyline importance there. Possibly reading into it too much, because frankly, if I was an executive producer, I would not launch my shows on Christmas and New Year's, because people are going to be out and about doing different things. They're not going to stay at home and like watch TV. I mean, I say that, but I'm going to be one of those people. So maybe they were right. Who knows? Anyways, Steve, Jonathan, and Dustin. Now, Steve and Jonathan's conversation was interesting because I think they're both right in one way. Like, Jonathan's right because Steve is kind of like acting up for Nancy and stuff like that. Even though Steve won't necessarily admit to that. Maybe in his eyes, he is still viewing Nancy as a friend, but there's definitely some tension there that I didn't think there was in season 4, until they went to the Upside Down, and then that was kind of like a little romantic. But like, I didn't really feel that in the earlier seasons. I could see or Steve trying to get over Nancy, and then I thought he was kind of more over her. But like season 4, kind of like the ending of it kind of made that different. But Steve is also right, because if Jonathan stopped being paranoid and like started actually focusing on Nancy instead of Steve, that relationship would be stronger. And I don't know though if Steve is right, if Nancy's actually unhappy in the relationship, because again, we have not seen anything to the contrary, or we haven't seen anything either way. We haven't seen Nancy be upset at like Steve, and we haven't seen Nancy be upset at Jonathan. She's just kind of, frankly, concentrating on the actual problem, which is Vecna, which is at a girl. And then Steve and Dustin, this is really interesting because Dustin is obviously going through some grief, and he's grieving right now, and he's very upset at like the world basically. I think it's interesting because all of Dustin's friends are really concerned about Dustin, but there's also this frustration which is very realistic. And like Steve in particular is like, he says that I've been nothing but concerned for you, but you are deflecting and stuff like that. I think Mike, Lucas, Will, and Steve's frustration is a very realistic sort of like experience you have when your friends are going through grief, because as much as you understand and want to empathize and want to be there, you also want them to be healed, and your timelines are not the same as their timelines, and that can cause some like frustration there as well. My favorite thing though is probably Elle and Hop's relationship in this episode. It's so funny. She sees Hop and then she gives all this context, and like Hop is literally just like, what? Wait, why is little Wheeler in here? What? Where are you going? Stop. Like, it was just actually really so funny. It, like, kind of made me crack up because that is 100% how that conversation would go down, because she would just assume he has, like, would just talk as if he has all the same context as her, and he's just like, I don't know what has happened. Why are you even here? Why is the little Wheeler kid here? Like, what is happening? And then there's a sort of conversation where she discovers he's hurt, and that's sort of like immediate, sort of like, we're both stubborn asses, but and like a care for each other is really kind of beautiful. So I do like that relationship. It was really fun. A fun episode. I like it, but I like the other ones that are coming up even more.